Should I?
We'll give the example later.
Hey everybody!
Hey everybody!
Welcome to a special evening with this person right here who's a very special person. Yeah, and you know that she's worked with her these last few days. I had the honor of meeting her 20 years ago. I can't believe that. We were starting to hear about Reggio, and she was speaking in San Francisco at another place, and we went and saw her, and we heard a perspective on Reggio that I think still is very special and unique. And I think you have to go to Reggio and speak Italian to get the same level. No, it's really true. She's a leading authority in a very amazing way that I'm not going to say anything more because you're going to see it in action here in just a few minutes. So it gives me great honor to present.
Now I present Randall. As you said, thank you. 20 years ago, I was invited to San Francisco to the JCC, and the director told me that she wants to do a parents' night and she wants to open it to the community. I said, great. And out of that, I gained to be part of KMS. At the end of the meeting, one of the teachers that was working here came to me and said, we are here from the school and would like to talk to you. And we exchanged the cards. This was like January. I went back home, and 2 months later, Katherine called me and said, okay, let's do the action. And I said, I'm sure you're talking about next school year, like in the summer. She said, no, I'm talking now. A month later I came, and it was like bonding from really, like first, second, that we started to work together. You're in a wonderful place that doesn't exist in other places, especially from the place of eagerness to grow, to learn, to reflect on everything that is going on with the kids and for the kids. And for tonight, actually, I would love it to be a conversation. I will show the unique point of view that we're having here with the Reggio Emilia approach. And you'll see amazing things that happened in the last 2 days that I was here. But please just come in with anything, a comment, a question. Okay.
Naama, would you like the lights off in here? Is that a little bit better?
Not too much.
Okay, like this maybe?
Yeah. In Reggio Emilia, in the early 60s, the municipality has started an educational system with a visionary person that his name is Loris Malaguzzi. A man that was ahead of his time then, but also now. He came with a couple of entry points. One is that a school cannot live in isolation from the context within which everybody who is coming to the school lives. That the three partners of children, parents, and teachers are equal partners with the same vision of creating like the highest quality for children from birth, because children are citizens with rights from birth, and the first right is high quality education. And that the most important thing for teachers to understand and to learn and to reflect on a daily basis is the question of how children learn, and to elevate the level of any interaction that they have with children at any age, and to meet every child where they're at, emotionally, cognitively, socially, in all the domains. So it is not just about projects that are being done, or how the environment is organized. It is mainly the well-being of the children that needs to be met at any given moment, from the tiniest detail to the, the biggest. Now, the words are beautiful, and many people are singing the same song. Reggio Emilia is the only place where the gap between the walking and the talking is zero. Really, not just as a statement. Because of the constant, daily learning of many elements that happened on that specific day. So, Loris Malaguzzi believed that every school has an identity. Every school, not just those that are in Italy. And it's like parallel to the process of how every human being has his or her own identity. And the identity is born when the school is born, and it is growing. And our role, like faculty, is to make sure that the culture and the identity are kept. So there are like 5 elements. This one I'll really do like in a short way, because I want us to see like the things that happened here, so it will be like very relevant. So you see the 5 things. Okay. Here you could very quickly. Let's focus on the environment of challenge. So, challenge means that the provocation, the invitations that we as adults are preparing for the kids in any area would create what Malaguzzi called cognitive conflict, where from the moment the children will see the materials or the question at hand or the skill that is taught, they would start developing questions about it. They do not need to, not verbally, it's like that something will start to work. Because if the environment is not interesting enough, then we are not meeting the highest place of quality. So many times we've talked about how what we are offering really prevents the process to launch. And you know how it is, like at home we feel that what we thought about is a great idea, then when it is on the table on the floor, no, there is not enough, interest. And then we are usually, okay, not so much here, but in general, we are disappointed, and then you know what happens in us, because then we really want them to do what we wanted, and the whole cycle into. So much work with the teachers is about the ability to analyze whether what I've offered really would create that challenge that would bring the motivation and the desire to really work with what was given. The non-judgmental environment. So this is a very, very important point. Look, the traditional way is to deal with different situations, whether it's like a question of boundaries or something behavioral. The first thing that we take from our pockets is discipline, because we feel that this is like the easiest. The fact that it doesn't work doesn't prevent us from continuing that and doing more discipline that then also doesn't work. In Reggio Emilia, the thinking is that every behavior, every human behavior, it has an intent, and has in it, especially with children, a question. And all the question is about the sense of self. So anything that you could run in your mind, like million situations. I'll give you like the simplest. Let's say there is a group meeting. So although there is enough place for everybody, and there is no issue who would sit near who, let's say we have a child that every day is searching for the place that is not available. Now, we know that the child knows really, really well that it's not available, that there is enough space, like all the data is known. Still, this is how the child brings himself to the group. So in Reggio, they see it as a question that it's like the responsibility of the teacher and the group to bring the question to the group and together like to deal with it. Of course, afterwards it would be like a personal process with the child, but not just to settle with you can't do it. If we say you can't do it after the child already did it, it's a little bit of a joke because the behavior already happened. And the conversation needs to be about a value. Like yesterday, I was with Naama, and she brought a question about how the children leave the atelier when they finish the work, and that sometimes there are groups that are like staying to organize everything, but others want to run upstairs to the next thing. So we were talking that we must have a conversation about the meaning of care. Just to say the obvious that we need to arrange everything when we finish, wouldn't do it. Do you want to say, to share? How was it today? It was good.
Sure. So today we had a conversation with one of the classes asking, what does it mean to care about a space? And really rooting of why do we have an atelier? Why don't we do our arts and crafts or other artistic things upstairs? What is it that makes it so special? And by having a conversation of what they said about like it's where I feel. One kid said like, oh, I feel like it's where I can have fun. I feel it's so creative. I can just whatever I have in my head, I can just show it on paper or in different things. And by looking at the conversation of the atelier itself, and then asking, okay, so how can we care for it? What are some ways that we can care for it? Change their mind of like, okay, so if I care for it, then let's also take care of the materials and make sure that everything's on its place. And I mean, the cleanup it was a complete different thing. They felt it. They were like, well, yeah, like we need to take care of this if we want to keep doing all of the things we're doing now.
So I used my presence over there and added like a small piece. Like after they talked about how, what you shared, like each of them said like their personal thing. I said to them, I could share with you why another reason why this school has an atelier, and I shared with them that I started by asking, do you know Catherine? They said, oh yeah, she founded the school. I said yes, and she has her has her own approach, and also she heard about an approach from Italy. I must say, when I said, have you heard about Italy? Where is it? They gave me like the concrete location. And I said to them, so in Italy, there was a very special person, Loris Malaguzzi, and I'll tell you something that he said, and you'll tell me what you think. And I said to them that Loris Malaguzzi believed that every child, when he or she are born, they already speak 100 languages. And he said every child has 100 languages. It was like amazing. No, it can't be 100. No, it can't be. How could they know 100 languages? When I was a baby, I didn't know any language. This was like the beginning. But that in itself, this is exactly the like the life of this approach. Like you bring the challenge, you bring something that okay, they haven't heard that specific phrase. And the level of engagement was like beautiful. But then they started to give ideas of languages. So one boy said, "When I was born, I knew how to do this." So good. This is a language. Movement is a language. And then it opened, and they started the. So another one did some signs. So I said, how would you call this language? They said sign language. So I took it to the place that Malaguzzi wanted that every school will have an atelier. There will be a place that every child could use any language they would like to use. So it was very, very important moment because when we give like the deep meaning, children connect themselves like in a different level. And I'm glad to know that the cleanup was.
Yeah, it was.
But let's wait for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay. In a minute, we will. I'll show you a video that talks about the research and the ethics, as we said, of the identity, and the learning that it's not just focused on the individual learning. In Reggio, they believe that the group has like a very positive power for children to learn from each other and to really support each other and scaffold for each other. Do you want to say something?
Yeah, is that like the main difference from Montessori and Reggio Emilia, or there's no connection at all between those two?
No, the connection is that Maria Montessori and Doris Malaguzzi were Italian.
That's the only connection.
First of all, and both of them came from the same place of the child is competent. As far as like the practices, each of them took it to a different place, but philosophically, they drank from the same good, high quality water. Maria Montessori had this statement that we need to see the child at all times in a place of becoming and not in a place of arrived. In Reggio, they're not saying it like in that literal way, but this is how everything that they do really happen. And also the way they look at themselves. Like when you in the seminar over there, and you say, "Oh, wow, your level is." You give the compliments that they deserve. They say, "Oh, we have so much work to do," and you just say to yourself, "If you have so much work to do, where am I exactly in the journey?" I think that Italy, because of culture and the whole context, really created very very deep thinking about education. Okay. Now we are entering like the learning part. The meaning of possibility. We always look from the window of the possibility. Elena Jacopini is like a pedagogical coordinator in Reggio. Where could you find the potential of the educational situation? The potential is always inside the situation. Now, this is a profound idea, and in a minute we'll see it in a video. So, when we offer something, we need to ask ourselves, what is the potential of the invitation that today I'm giving to children? Like we will see a video from yesterday where it was like watercolor, work with watercolor. So when I'm thinking about like offering that, I need to ask myself, okay, first of all, what is my goal? Or in the Reggio language, what is my intent? What do I think that might happen? And how would I arrange everything so that the intent could flourish when the children will interact with the material that I gave. So let's say that I arranged something, I thought about it, I felt that the potential is high, like all the conditions are great. Then they say, when you are there, the teacher, at any moment while you're observing and interacting and all that, you need to ask we need to ask ourselves, okay, now that action that the child decided to do, what's in it? What could it add to the potential? Where could I take it? Maybe it could open a different branch. So the presence of the teacher is active. Not so active like in the doing, but in seeing the possibilities and planning, like maybe the questions or the comments that they might say, in a way that would deepen or broaden the basic potential within which we've entered the situation. Inside means the place that the child, the teacher, and the group are sharing. So let me see. I want to show the video of yesterday. Let's see. We'll jump into it. 1 second. Okay, we are moving to this. Okay. I will. I came to the room. They were already in the process. If I will tell you to click.
Which do I click? The space bar?
I think enter, but then here to stop. Because if they want to talk.
Do I just click here to?
Yeah. Okay. So I sat and I saw the two girls working with the watercolor. Okay. Okay, stop all that. Okay, so I'll show you now like what we are doing with the teachers. The level that we would like to develop the vision. Okay, two girls, they are like painting. This action is a place where Adi had a theory in her mind. A theory about the water that were on the page. So this is a moment of possibility. Because it is not going in the same track of, okay, we'll continue. So, in the training that we are doing, I want teachers to be really, really sensitive to that second. Not necessarily to say something right now, but to write to myself a note, or if I'm taking the video, because you'll see how that moment changed the situation. Second time. Now, the angle, it's like more towards the 90. Yeah? I'm not so good in math. Now, do you see the beauty? Because if we are not aware of it, then we are sitting over there. And for us, okay, so watercolor, fine. So now she's taking the page this angle or that angle. But no. Also, we saw like her face, like the first time that she brought it up, you saw that she's thinking about something. It wasn't like arbitrary thing. And also, but you understand that we need to develop like observational skills to really see what in Reggio is called the possibility. And this would change and would take what happens from a very, strolling in the park to something that is more complex. Come in. Okay. Now, look at our friend. Okay, well done. Okay. Now, this like second. This is called learning knowledge. So, what's her name? Izzy. Isabel. Isabel looked at what Adi was doing. She loaned, okay, these Malaguti words, the knowledge from Adi, but created a different interpretation about the relationship between the paper and the water. This is poetry, really, because it turned like a very basic watercolor paper, two beautiful girls, wonderful, to something that in it has so much and also the potential of continuation. Okay. Okay. So, third step, now I'm not so delicate, a little bit water. No, let's go for a good amount. I'm sitting, I'm like flying with happiness. Because this is how children talk in 100 languages. They are researchers, period. We need training so that we ourselves, Malaguti said, if children have 100 languages, teachers also need 100 languages, at least, so they could, because the children, when there is potential, they are using it. We need to be there in order for us to see, to acknowledge it, to understand that there is potential, and to decide to document it, and later, of course. Okay. Chapter 4, episode 4. Now she did the same movement like her friend. She, again, learning. Look. So, without talking, they do not need the words. Isabel went to bring paper. This is called another theory. Everything that the child is doing is called in Reggio a theory. Because it is clear that she had a thought. So the research is about the relationship between water, paper, color. So now, as a good researcher, I'm adding another material, clearly that she has previous experience already with paper, but it is something that comes from an intent. It's not, again, it's not out of nowhere. She's checking. Number two. This is really fantastic, really, because first, okay, bye bye. First, okay, so the first paper was soaked with the water. So now we've got the other paper. So here, the main question that teachers are asking me, not just in KMS, is like, when would I know that now is the time to intervene or to say something or to bring a question? So the moment to intervene is any moment where we could verbalize a theory. So this moment was really, really important because you see that the paper stayed dry. And it was very, very, it was like soaked and dry. It wasn't like in the middle. So this is a place where you want to elevate the consciousness of the child to the phenomena. We are not solving anything, we are not, but we want to show them that this moment has in it something that could be interesting. So it's not so much when it's like for us, the adults who are there all the time to think whether what I'll do now would elevate the potential and would take the children further, yes or no. If I think that it could elevate it, I'm doing it. Just for the sake of it's beautiful, like all of those comments, don't bother. But something that really shows that we also participate in the research with our interest, with our minds, with how we think. They really wanted to be wet. Like, look at it. Now we need more water. I think
Good. So let's let it dry now, okay?
water. You see the amount of water is rising. Yes? Look at the angle, like very gently in a minute. This is so you see because the question wasn't answered like when the paper was dry. As as a very good researcher, you do the experiment again. Bring the water, pour the water, put the paper. So this is the kind of work that we do with the teachers, like to really strengthen the ability. First of all, for the level of present to be very high, and also to see at all times, or as much as we could, to see the places where children are giving us their big questions, so that for the next day planning, I could use it to really bring it back and either offer it in a different way or the same way, or in Reggio, they would ask them to share it with the group, like to show the group everything they've done and to see what other children will say about, let's say, why one time it stayed dry and one time it was soaked and one time half soaked and all of that.
So what would you say in this situation? What would you say to me?
I think when they were like the second time when it stayed dry and they really wanted it to happen, I would say I would just ask them, what do you think about what is happening right now? Because I don't want to say, what do you think about the dry paper? I want them in their response to give me their dilemma or the cognitive conflict. So they will say, earlier, immediately it was wet, now it's not. Because then, out of that, we could start a conversation. So what could be the reason for that? It's beautiful in my mind. Everything here is beautiful. First of all, you see how they are focused in it. They could stay here like for 2 hours. They're not in a hurry. And the perseverance is very important as a characteristic of learning, that if you have a question, keep on researching it. The beautiful thing here in KMS that the environment really allows it for them to stay here for a long time, really like try different things, and of course the ability to revisit, and if the teacher is coming the next day, and bringing the question back either to them or to the group, then it adds another layer.
If the child doesn't respond, would you then kind of tell them about your observation that first the paper was wet, now it's dry, so why is that the difference, or would you just let them play?
First of all, in this school, I do not see any child that wouldn't respond. what I learned in Reggio that you do not need to talk as an adult. You are inviting other children. So, okay, here we have two girls. So most chances are that one of them will talk. If not, I could call another child and say, something happened here, we have a question. Tell him or her what is our question. So then with the peers, they will share, and then out of that, something bigger could be developed. What do you think? Like,
Very interesting, because you don't. I mean, I'm not a teacher, and I have so many activities like that happening all the time, and I never really took the time of thinking about this like this. It's very interesting.
one time, just sit and take a video,
Yeah.
because after you take the video, and you look at it, all of a sudden, like million things that while we are there, it's hard to see. All of a sudden, we see the nuances.
I think I hear what you're saying.
Excuse me?
I think I hear what you're saying, and I think I get that. That's why I have my kid here. You're speaking of the elicitation of a circumstance where the kids can elicit their expression of what they're experiencing, rather than being told what they're experiencing.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And it definitely comes through. You can see it here.
Okay, we have another amazing story that happened today. So where is it? I'll go back later to. Okay, this is important. Really, it is just a summary of what we've talked. The whole thing of the child is here to construct knowledge. The child is coming to school, any school it should be, to construct the knowledge and to build meaning about themselves and the world. Okay. So all of those things are the criteria for high quality learning situation for children at any age, from infancy to today. A daughter of a friend of mine that just had a baby, and she called me with some questions about the baby. And I said to her, the baby is now almost 1 month old. And I said to her, you need to step away from, with the basic cycles of feeding and feeding, sleeping. Your daughter, she learns so much, and you need to start stimulating her. She said, "It's already?" I said, "You are late." I said to her, "Look, you need to talk to her, because she doesn't just want her life to be narrowed to when will she eat again and whether she will have some gas." So it was so funny. I said to her, "Look, you will talk to her like after you feed her. You could say whatever you want. She will not negate. But you need to do it as a conversation. like her name is Rani. Okay, we just finished eating. And I said, then stop, because in a conversation, we need to leave the space for the partner to respond to us. And after you do it like 3 times, that you'll say something and you'll stop, you'll see that she'll respond to you. And I want to see the video that your husband was taking one. So I hope that I get it tomorrow. But this is how we need to see children. Like they're ready all the time. By the way, the time that they behave is because they feel that we are not ready, and they want us to be ready. Okay. So this video that we will see now is beyond profound. And Brenda was my witness.
You're gonna have to pull up the video. Though.
Enter.
Is it this one right here?
Enter.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I came this morning. This was like the presentation. Just so that I want to give you the context. So I asked the teacher, like, what was like the context, and she explained to me that they talked about shapes, and they created shapes. Like each child create shapes with the tape, and the invitation was like to color the shapes. Okay, so I said, and I saw this girl that worked like in such a focused way, and let's see what happened. What are you doing?
I don't know.
Look at my face. I'm dying when I say it. Okay, so she invited the teacher to see what she did. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. That is to say that it was meaningful to her. The work was meaningful, and it was meaningful to make it visible. It's wonderful. It's unbelievable.
You can even see it in her face in this
Yeah.
still that she's like proud to show.
It's like the content.
Uh-huh.
Okay. The way it works is really wonderful. So, Brenda, he invited her to sit, to participate with him. So, the beauty here that we understand that it is a culture. It's wonderful. It's like a culture of welcoming. Like I'm invited into my world. And if you thought that you only put it on the table and then you'll go somewhere else, no. You need to be here and really see what is happening here. Okay. Okay. So he said he wants to do a flashlight. Okay. Then he said to her, the volume is not so good. Then he said to her, I need white. He said, I want to do a flashlight. This is unbelievable. And he said to her, I need white. This is a theory. He knew what he wanted to do. And he has an image, like from previous knowledge, an image in his mind that white is needed here. Okay. So here I really so the teacher asked why do you need the white, and here I entered and I said to her, give it to him. And the reason was because I will show it to her tomorrow. This is a place of possibility. Because if the child has a theory, we need to follow. Period. End of story. But the work that we are doing is like to sharpen the skill, like to see that what he said to you, to me, to us, is a theory, and that we want to support it. So I said to her, give it to him, give it to him. So fantastic, fantastic. Okay, something is cooking here. So KMS grows researchers. Okay. Randall will bring us. Okay, here I did another. I told Randall to find the flashlight in the school. Now, look what he's doing. Okay. So he took the white and put it on the the blue and the here he said to her, before that he wanted her to paint, and I signaled to her not to do it, because we are not entering the work of children. And he said to her, I put it inside. And in a minute, I don't understand. Okay. She asked why, and he said so you could see someone. So this is where we understand that he knows exactly what the flashlight is doing, and the idea that he understood that he needs the white. So the white of the flashlight. It's a mind blowing. So for me, this is very, very like important and symbolic, because so that behavior is also a question. It's Catherine?
Talking about how he understood the idea and he already has a plan. What is the flashlight doing?
I wanted to say that okay, Loris Malaguzzi, okay, the founder of the approach, worked from the beginning with a pedagogista, like a pedagogical consultant that started with him like from the beginning. Her name is Carla Rinaldi, and she has this idea that she's sharing, that to bring children to the fullest potential that each of them has, everybody and in every place we can do it. And then she said, if we are giving them the conditions within which they could develop the potential. And for me, all of that is a representation of that. That this school is a place that climb like the ladder to really give children the conditions for each of them to really bring their own self and all the languages that they're having. I know million places that it would happen. The teachers would say, well, these are shapes, flashlight is not for today, you know, like all the things that you know. And my role is like to work with the teachers and really show the idea that at any given moment there is something that you could like unfold. If we, the teachers, if we are open to give ourselves to the situation, this is like the thing. To give the white. Okay, it wasn't my plan with the parent to give white or whatever. But right now, giving the white changed everything. But it's a metaphor. It's not, you know. And then it brought us to see how far he could go. Very, very far. And also, it has potential. Later on, we will show you another interaction. How another child became so interested. So now two children are like in the process. But it could happen only if we are really there. If we're not really there, usually we offer things, we let them, interact with the things, and we're happy if everybody returns home safe. Okay, now we will see what happened when Randall brought the flashlight.
The return?
It's the second one, yeah. I don't know why you didn't earlier you made the magic with look at the other boy. He's like, I want to be part of that.
Wow.
So Randall asked him how did he do that, and he pointed to the white. You see how when there is, look what he's doing. He's trying the theory of the white.
Could you give us another? Now, Randall, taking the
She's in the neighborhood.
Wow!
So he was saying that this is a different type in the. It's okay. He's when the flashlight was on the jar that already had some blue in the with the white. Then River said, "This is a different kind of blue." So again, we have here a fact because it was different, but we need to think like under the umbrella of relationships. Between this element of the light and the color, and then it will take us to another level. So to be continued tomorrow, we'll see what will happen.
I really loved how he just his experience with his art. It was able to tell you the story of what was going on in his head that maybe he couldn't articulate, but he sure did by exploring, and then the teacher allowing him to continue and to grow and grow. And I'm like,
Yeah.
wow.
What we need to work on is that the continuation from day to day will be tighter. Let's say, for the next day, to have the same invitation and to offer, let's say, the two boys and maybe to add another child, like to come again. Now, maybe they wouldn't want to do it, but like to have the opportunity for continuation. So it won't be like, okay, one day we had watercolor, then we had this. This is very important also. Any question? Anything?
How do we how do we understand where should we interfere and where should we
We are not interfering. We are researching with them. In Reggio, they do not have this word, interfere. Interfere is like if we wouldn't allow it. But the only way to learn the when is by just doing it, and then later to reflect and see whether it was the right moment or not. I think that the more we sharpen the eye, the more opportunities like we are seeing that like open to us different paths that we could walk. Also, to be open and flexible. They want the white, give them the white. Who cares? It doesn't matter if we think that why do we need it? But right now, if we gave a palette, that is to say that we are willing to offer different colors. So this is another thing, like to work on the flexibility. And really let ourselves put aside what we are coming with and let them surprise us with where they're coming from.
This is maybe more of an observation than perhaps a question will emerge, but I was thinking what Moon asked, I was going to ask something similar. So I was thinking, okay, you had said that the teacher's job is to, then we elevate the potential. So then my thinking as a teacher was like, okay, where would I intervene to, elevate potential? But then listening to, and you said, the more we sharpen the eye, and I think, and you had mentioned this before when we had a internet Skype conference with you, is that as Americans, we often just want to like jump in and organize and take control of everything. And I think, no, maybe when you said that, maybe as a teacher, my role at this point, while I'm trying to really gain a deeper understanding of this and the children, is just to focus on sharpening my eye, focus on the observation and the seeing and my own researching, and then perhaps that point of intervention of increasing the potential will sort of expose itself to me. That was just my observation.
I think that it's like it's like an integration between. It's like a dance. Sometimes we just need to jump to the water. Okay, maybe it's too deep, but still. And sometimes we could, let's say, wait and see. I think that when we do something, the children respond to us, verbally or non-verbally, and this tells us, like, how, let's say, accurate or how interesting was our entry point. Because children are very, very sensitive to whether we come to them with high authenticity.
That exact words in my head, I think, being truly authentic in your interaction and engagement.
Especially in cases where behavior is involved. I have a teacher now that she told me that in her class she has a girl that really follows her at all times. Also at the break time. And she says, I want to be with you, I want to be with you. And the teacher is calling me, okay, I'm trying to convince her, she needs to be with her friends, So I said to her, she's coming to you, she's telling you something. Like the literal level that I want to follow you. But underneath, there is something else. And she wants to know whether you're interested in really knowing what is underneath. So if you come with convincing, this only would strengthen the behavior, because still I want to tell you something. And children hate when we try to convince them. Well, as parents, you know it very well. So I said to her, tomorrow morning, just come to her and say, look, I know that you want to tell me something. So let's find a time today and just we'll talk about it. She was happy. she's calling me the next day. It didn't work. I said, what didn't work? I said the sentence, and she didn't speak with me the whole day. She didn't want to respond, and she didn't want to speak with me the whole day. But at the end of the day, she gave me a letter. Tomorrow, I would like us to play a game together. I said, great. Now, you write a letter, and tomorrow morning, without any word, you just give her the letter. So this is what we are talking about. The authenticity, that we will be equal in the way that we are with each other. So the next morning, she gave her the letter, and the girl really brought a game, and they played, and she said to me, the teacher said to me that what hits her was the happiness in the face of the girl when she got the letter. All the rest was irrelevant. But this is what I'm learning, like for many years now in Reggio, that they call it like delicacy, like that you really show that you come to create something very, very special with every child, and it's like I see you, but in a very, very deep way. Not just as okay, let's solve an issue, but really, I want to find the place where we will feel that we're together. The minute, the second that this togetherness message is received, everything changes. From infants to so this is why I'm always saying, like, wherever I go, discipline is important, but just as in itself, it doesn't solve like the inner question that the person has. Now, really to invest, this is Reggio, to really invest in understanding what the children are sending, and how they are sending it, and what we are sending. This is another. And one thing that I've said to Randa, like from the first day that I arrived here, every person wants to be met. End of story. That's it. And the more behaviors that we might get of walk away, I don't want to talk to you, the more we have that, the more is the willingness of the person to be met. And I think this is the essence of what we need to do. We really need to meet every child as who they are. Not to be afraid by the behaviors. Because only like, what does it call in the Olympics when they need to jump the barrier?
Hurdle.
The hurdle. Hurdle. Yeah, something that I cannot pronounce. Yes.
I feel like a lot of what you're saying here, everything can be applied all the way to every age. It doesn't matter. I'm in adult learning, and all the things you're showing are the things that I teach We all want to be met and heard and dealt with authentically and
Exactly.
Just one thing I'd like to say in closing about this meeting we had together that I think was special. There's so many things, but we have teachers here and we have parents here. It's about half and half, which is very nice. We have peaches represented, we have pumpkins, we have strawberries, we have the whole school represented here. And I'm just really just thinking about this as we came to the end. And in particular, I wanted to make sure, because some of you might not, we didn't do introductions at the beginning, and especially to recognize all the different teachers here so you get to know them. I know Valerie over there spoke up. She's the elementary literacy specialist. Yolanda's Peaches and Pumpkins. Well, you just been here. You're my sister. And then Mia is our Peach director. You might know Tamara right here spoke up earlier. The Italianista in elementary, and Moon taught with pumpkins for how many years?
2 years.
2 years, and now is with pre-K. And Colleen, our administrative director, and one of the joys for what I get to do now, like as you saw, I was with pumpkins. I also got to go with the peaches and the strawberries. That's the trail along and hopefully have a flashlight. Fortunately, I found that flashlight. But again, then just in closing, I just want to thank you so much, Naama, for speaking with us tonight. I think Joe, when I saw him here when he first came in, he's like, yeah, I think I'm going to learn something tonight. Did you?
So personal.
Yeah, that's I'm always assured of learning something when I spend an evening with Naama.
Thank you. I love to be here. Very good.
Thank you. It's very interesting. I understood more about the whole process. Never see it so up close.
I'll tell you, as a parent of a kid who's been here for 6 years and one more year to go, it warms my heart to have you come and visit and connect with all these teachers and to know that there's such a thread of meaning here, because there's nothing more meaningful than this. So as a parent, it's really grounded and wonderful to have you come and to know that everyone's plugged in and really taking this to heart. It's good to see you again.
Thank you.
I have not one of Naama's quotes. I had the opportunity to finally meet her today, and she has been mentoring for me for the last 3 years. I'm taking my baby steps, but today I had an interesting one-on-one meeting with her, and I was asking about the potentials, about how I can find a project and how I'm going to develop. And this is what she had to say. She says, every rich potential, once you have discovered it, it starts with the value, ends with the same value. In between, there is practice. Thank you. Thank you, Naama.
I think that's a great closing. All right, if you could help put chairs back and situate things, that would be appreciated. There's cookies over here if you want to cook.